So now we move on from vampire comedy to zombie comedy, which has a lower percentage on Rotten Tomatoes. But does that really mean anything? Tonight's review is on a film called Cooties, which follows a group of the worst elementary school staff on the planet as they're dealing with a zombie outbreak among the children of the school that they're working at. Now, this movie had some pretty decent zombie action going for it, when it was happening. And I like how they didn't take too long to get into the good stuff. At the beginning, there's a pretty fun slow-mo scene as the Cootie virus is just starting to break out. And it was funny just to see these adults being attacked by little kid zombies and then beating the shit out of them. But at the same time, the zombie action in this movie is a lot more scarce than I thought it was going to be. Most of it is just based around the interaction between the staff members of this elementary school. And the casting of this movie was what mainly got my attention because you do have quite a few celebrities in here. You've got Elijah Wood, Rainn Wilson, Allison Pill, Leigh Whannell, all actors who I like and all who play characters who are not the most likable. Granted, this movie made me laugh a lot more than Blood-Sucking Bastards, and it was more entertaining to watch. I didn't get bored while I was watching it, but at the same time, it was pretty dumb. Easily my favorite joke in this movie was when adult characters died off, and to an extreme extent, this film makes fun of the fact that whenever a character dies in a horror movie, it's usually someone who's a lot less developed and has the least backstory to them. And really, it's the only point in this film where I'll give it credit for being genuinely clever. When it comes to the characters in this movie, as unlikable and as dumb as they are, there are a couple who stand out as being fairly amusing to watch for me. Like, Rainn Wilson plays this coach in the movie who's like a dumb redneck stereotype, which is completely against type for this actor, and yet when I saw him in this role, it was strangely perfect for him. Also, one of the teachers in this movie is an extreme feminazi sort of stereotype who has a hostile attitude towards the men. I thought she was kind of funny. Also, I found Leigh Whannell to be the funniest character in this movie. I don't know whether it was due to the writing or due to his acting, but he manages to get some pretty funny moments in this movie. Essentially, his character is supposed to be brain damaged, and it's made him very socially awkward. He doesn't really know how to interact with people, which makes him a prime material for an elementary school teacher. On the other hand, he had what was probably the dumbest joke in the entire movie. Hey, I just inspected this guy's anus, but it's okay, guys. I was wearing gloves. Oh, wait, no, I wasn't. And yeah, there are a couple of gross out moments in this movie if that sort of thing turns you off, but like the zombie attacks, they are few and far between. I would say that the most effective scene for me in that regard was the intro to this movie. Um, Never before have I wanted to throw up just from watching someone bite into a chicken nugget. As for the rest of the characters in this movie, eh. There's this blonde guy who is, I guess, is supposed to be some kind of sissy gay stereotype or something. I literally cannot remember a thing that he did in this movie. There's a stoner bus driver who contributes absolutely nothing to the plot. Allison Pill is just overly bubbly and excited in this movie, and it's fucking annoying. Um, and Elijah Wood is just fucking wishy washy. I mean, he starts off interesting at the beginning of this movie. I actually kind of liked his character at first, but Then he just sort of becomes an asshole, and I don't know, I just kind of stopped caring for him after a while. And there's even a scene later on in the movie where he and Allison Pill's character kind of have this dramatic moment with each other. Why? I mean, throughout most of the running time, it felt like the people who made this movie wanted to intentionally make the characters as unlikable as possible, but I guess that wasn't what they were going for when they just suddenly threw in this scene where we were supposed to feel something for these people. In the end, I can't say that I hated this movie. I mean, as I've made clear, it did manage to get some good laughs out of me. There were some things about it that I found funny. And as far as comparisons go to the last horror comedy that I reviewed on this channel, it had more energy to it, and for sure they put a lot more effort into the special effects. So I could see this being kind of a guilty pleasure for some people. Personally, I only found that it was worth watching once for the parts that I found funny, but if you're looking for a comedy with a little more intelligence to it, then you might want to skip this one. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about Cooties. I hope you all have a good one.